Hi, guys, it's Mike and Ricky, and this week we're going to look back on 2023 and look forward to 2024. Michael, how are you doing, sir?
Good. I'm doing fine. Just finished the holidays. We just had our Christmas, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide whether it's been successful or not. I think so.
Okay.
Up till the holidays, my wife's been hinting, on her gift, and so, good husband like I am, I pick up on those hints. I'm very attentive to my wife. I'm very aware of her needs. So for Christmas, I took my wife to an orchard and we stood there looking at trees for half an hour. And apparently,
Okay.
that's not the Apple Watch she was expecting. So apparently, her idea of Apple Watch meant something else besides going to the orchard.
It's the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe. Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
Man. Oh, by the way, don't we, at this point, folks, we like to talk to you about some friends of ours or people that we are obligated to sponsor or talk about. Or how does this thing work? I don't know.
We'll just let David explain.
Hey, nerds, this is David with Tatooine Sons, a pop culture podcast. We believe that pop culture is the mythology of our generation. There is a story, it is written on our souls, and that all of these myths speak to that story. And that is why every Tuesday I talk about Star Wars and Marvel and DC and Lord of the Rings and whatever nerdy things we can think of with my two sons, Sam and Nate. It is a 30 to 45 minute celebration of all the weirdness that we love so much. Basically, Mom said we couldn't talk about it at the kitchen table anymore, so we decided to start a podcast. We hope you'll check it out. It's on every podcast app out there. Tatooine Sons. That's Tatooine SONS.
Okay. Thank you, David.
It's funny that we just stare at each other wall, and then I put that in later when I'm editing.
Yeah, it's not like anything's happening. It's just we weigh it as if it's happening in the background, and it's not. So anyway, yes, today we are going to talk about some of the disappointments of 2023, some things we look forward to in 2024, just a little bit of a view of the year and what we hope to see in the future in coming up and after the new year. So it's kind of where we're going to go with that. Also, too, we're going to talk a little bit about a little bit of nerdy happenings, but a lot of the show is going to be a lot about what's going on in the news. I would assume stuff that's coming out.
This past weekend was Christmas, so not a whole lot of news came out.
Really. No, not really. No. So anyway, let's go ahead and just we have some stuff that we want to do?
I've got box office news.
Well, let's just for fun, let's go ahead and just play the video since we made it. Let's go ahead and do
It's time for the nerdy happenings of the week.
I mean, come on. At least I want to hear it. I want to hear the theme song, and then you can just talk about box office.
There we go.
Numbers.
Well,
so there you go.
Real quick, this was the Christmas weekend, so box office is kind of interesting. Yeah. But number one, taking first place, is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Surprise, surprise.
That's
DC
takes
the number one spot with a domestic take of $27.7 million. Pretty low.
That's pretty low.
It kind of misses the mark. So far since the weekend, they've added a little more. But worldwide right now, the movie has only hit 126 million.
Mm-hmm.
Not overwhelming, but it's something. And my guess is part of that has to do with it is, it's Aquaman. Let's face it. It is the second Aquaman, and it is the last of the DCEU movies, and apparently will have no bearing on what happens next. So
we'll talk about that a little bit. Go ahead.
Only people who really are into Aquaman or really into Jason Momoa probably went to go see this movie.
Yeah. And even then, I don't know if they did, but okay.
Yeah,
somebody did, but anyway.
Yeah, Wonka. But Wonka comes in second place, adding another $18 million. That movie's doing fairly well for Warner Brothers. And then Migration, a movie I'm not familiar with, comes in third at $12 million. Anyone But You comes in at fourth. Movies I've never heard of. $6 million.
And I don't know why that. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. What was the last?
Solar comes in at $5.4 million. And just movies I haven't heard of. They're opening weekends. But they're movies.
That was the one. What was it? Nobody But You? Is that was one? What was the Anybody But You? Okay, so apparently Sony was pushing this on social media because for some reason it kept showing up on my feed, and so they're just like slamming it on Facebook, especially on Instagram. And I was and I saw it, and it was supposed to be some romantic comedy of two people. I have no clue who they are. And as far as I'm concerned, they were too pretty to be actually something I would go see because, to the point of, I'm sorry, and I'll see Ryan Reynolds, because he's a goofball, and of course he's pretty buffed like me. So that's good. But as far as, seeing people, I have no idea who they are, and maybe somebody knows who they are, but they're just like it. Apparently people did not find it to be very entertaining because it apparently went down the tubes. And it's interesting watching these studios trying to now push through social media, their agenda of getting these movies out, which is a good idea, but
so just so that Sydney Sweeney is the female lead.
Okay.
And for those who are interested, she is actually going to come into play in Marvel because she's going to be in the upcoming Madam Web movie from so that's a Marvel Sony thing.
But she's not Madam Web, is she?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe that's the Madam Web character. And then Glenn Powell is the male lead.
Okay.
And he was John Glenn in Hidden Figures, if you were into that movie.
Okay.
And he's been in some stuff. He was in Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
So he's not.
Apparently, I'm not the demographic. So apparently,
I was going to say,
apparently I'm not.
He's not an unknown actor, but he's not somebody that's I would say is a household name. When I saw him in Hidden Figures, I didn't recognize him as anyone I knew, but didn't think he was a bad actor.
Okay, well, that's good.
That's where that one comes from.
Okay.
But interesting box office. That brings us up to $8.7 billion for the year with only one weekend left. And, as I said last week, that still puts us like looking at pre-pandemic numbers.
Yes.
We're looking at 2001.
Gotcha.
Since the box office has been this low.
Gotcha. Well,
just not good box office year.
Not good boxes. Well, we're going to I guess that's it for Nerdy News because everything else is going to be pretty much the same things.
Kind of news. And that's all for the nerdy happenings of the week.
Well,
Some stupid news for us?
I do have some stupid news, and we'll just go over a couple of items. Let's just go ahead and just launch that.
It's the weird and stupid news with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
Well, let's see here. Fascinating things. It's over in London. 4 men have been charged over the theft of an 18-karat gold toilet from a palace in southern England. Yes, it said it was. Yeah, it says where it was kept as a art exhibit before being stolen in an early morning heist. Now, this was back in 2019. They still can't find the thing. Okay, it's still missing. Okay. And apparently this thing was in Blenheim Palace. Now, it's the birthplace in the ancestral home of British wartime leader Winston Churchill. And so
okay,
there you go. And so, again, the last time they had this toilet was on display in New York in the Guggenheim Museum. But,
okay,
of course, now apparently they still haven't recovered the toilet. And apparently, I guess it was not immediately clear.
I just have to say, it sounds like they flushed a lot of money down.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I don't have that one. The only one I have for that
Denied.
So that's the closest thing I have for that. Yeah, so it was not immediately clear if the toilet seat. I don't understand why. I'm not going to mention that. Apparently, there's a little clip in here talking about the name of the toilet, but I'm not going to mention the name of the toilet because it's not very patriotic. So anyway, but yeah, so this toilet is somewhere out there. It's a fully functioning toilet valued at $5.9 million. So I mean, that's a pot to squat, right? Or a squat to pot in, or whatever you want to call it. So if you happen to see a golden toilet somewhere, I'm sure you can probably report it to the European authorities, Scotland Yard, or whatever that other organization in Europe. I don't. Anyway, MI6 or yeah. So anyway, that's much for the toilet, but also interesting. Of course, we just had the holidays, and a lot of children got gifts that they particularly didn't want, socks and ugly sweaters and itchy things, clothes and stuff like that. Somehow kids, there's some letdowns when you open up a package, a box that, you hoping might be, I don't know, I'm talking from the 80s G.I. Joe, but anyway, getting some, something new like a PS5, and you end up getting like a package of underwear. So, but beware, children. You've heard of Santa, of course. Santa brings the gifts. Maybe even heard of Krampus. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Well, there is a Iceland folklore out there. It's
okay.
Apparently, it's called Yule Cat. And I can't pronounce the Nordic name of Yule Cat, but what Yule Cat does is that he's a monstrous cat who roams Iceland, eating children who aren't wearing their clothes they got for Christmas.
Okay.
Yes, this is actually for sure. This is it was published
Yule Cat has a Wikipedia page. Okay.
Yes, it's a Icelandic poet who wrote the Yule Cat in his book. I can't pronounce it. It's called Christmas is Coming, was published in 1932. Poem tells the tale of a cat that's very large with glowing eyes, and it roams the countryside, going from house to house, looking for children who aren't wearing their new clothes they got for Christmas, according to the poem. There's several memes out there on social media about this, and find it very amusing. But it's fascinating that something like this has made it out. Of course, we have Krampus, and now we have
Yeah.
Yule Cat. So it's very much a weird European thing. Why it's a thing, I don't know, but it's definitely a thing. So, if you're missing any of your children, they probably weren't wearing their clothes that they got for Christmas. Anyway, that's really stupid news.
This has been the Weird and Stupid News with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
I don't think I've got anything. Yeah. I don't think I've received any gifts that were clothes.
I would have to think through that. I didn't receive any clothes this year.
Yeah. So I think I'm okay.
My daughter did receive a t-shirt, though.
Yeah.
So she better put that on.
Hopefully.
Or the Yule Cat will get her.
The Yule Cat will get her. So back to what we're going to talk. Yeah, I know. Let her know. Just find an image and send it to her, and then that way. So anyway, yes, we're going to talk about what we were disappointed in 2023 and what we look forward to in 2024. I think that's kind of the gist of things. Going from there. Anything we want to start off with? I mean, I know this past year there's been a pretty rough year. And of course, the biggest thing is, of course, we've had writer strikes and actor strikes. And so a lot of things has been held up for that.
I was going to say, I think my biggest disappointment of the year was that the whole writer strike and actor strike, and that they couldn't get things worked out quickly. That was my biggest disappointment. Because honestly, I don't honestly think the movies and TV shows that came out this year would have been any better.
Yeah.
But I think we wouldn't be scrounging so much for next year.
And I think that's some of the things that, besides what we look forward to and what we're concerned about next year as well. But that's going to be part of it too. Yeah. How quickly are we going to be able to, disappointment is, movies like Deadpool 3, it was, apparently they had to continue. They had all the material, they continued, and then they had to come back afterwards and allow Ryan Reynolds to actually ad-lib, which is Deadpool, so there's a lot to be with that, and but I mean, there was a lot of disappointments in 2023, and there was some good stuff. There was some good stuff that also came in, but some of the things that for me is, you look at movies, and we talked about movies like The Flash. That was a big disappointment. And then of course we've talked about, Aquaman, that came out, and the thing with these movies and the bad thing about this is, of course, this was back with, with The Flash, is that, there was The Flash was supposed to take the I guess what, I don't want to call it Snyderverse, but was going to take Snyderverse and send it off on a bigger projection. Right. And of course, knowing that that was going away, and that DC decided to go a totally new direction. Yep. And it really, let me put it this way. It's hard to invest in something that that's going to go away, that has no weight to it. It's kind of like, I don't know if you're like me, you're wanting to find something to binge on Netflix or Hulu or something, and you go, it's like something that you obscure that you hadn't seen, and you go, oh, this looks kind of funny. I like these actors. And you realize, wait a minute, this was back in 2019. There was only one season. Do I want to So you know that it didn't make it. And so do
Yeah.
you want to invest in something that will not, because I hate watching something and I'm like, man, this is really good. And then you find out, wait a minute, there's not a season 3. There's not a season 2.
It's not going to go anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
know the exact feeling. And my wife watches a lot of TV,
mhm.
and she has kind of two situations. There's either too many seasons for her
Yes.
to want to binge
Yeah,
it,
I get that.
or there's only one or two, and it was really good, and she really enjoyed it, but there's just not anymore, and there never will be.
Well,
And
yeah. One of the
what do
biggest
you do?
Well, the biggest problem for me on those type of situations is that there's no closure. They leave you with a
Yeah.
cliffhanger and nothing happens
Yes.
afterward. So those are the kind of things. If I can watch one season, it's really good, and if it closes and it makes sense, okay, well,
Mhm.
you know, but if it's going to, tempt me for a second season or a third season and then it gets dropped, then But I think that's what DC is right now. DC up to this point
Yes.
with Aquaman, it's very hard to you talked about before, even if I'm an avid Jason Momoa fan, which I like him, Aquaman fan, which there's people out there that are, I still can't. And like I said, I used to be a big DC guy, and
Mhm.
but I have no interest in seeing this.
Yeah.
And nothing against Jason Momoa, but it's just there's I don't want to invest my time and energy in something that has no caveat, has no weight in the future of a franchise. And so,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, like Dune,
yeah,
there was some trepidation. I knew going in that we were only going to get the first part of the film. Now, a
yeah,
lot of
exactly.
people, I remember seeing posts from a lot of people
Yeah.
surprised when the first thing that popped on the screen was part 1. Well, I
Mhm.
already knew that was the thing because I follow this, because it's what I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
But if Dune had failed in the theaters,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have gotten the second
No.
part next year.
No.
And that's one of those, man,
It was greenlit. Yeah, it was greenlit quickly. So
yes,
yeah.
it was greenlit quickly. And that's the key there. Some of these things are greenlit all the way through. Like, okay, we're
Yeah.
definitely making all 3. And
Yeah.
then some things, nope, didn't do a good enough
Yeah. Didn't.
job to warrant finishing it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm with you on that. I looked forward, like you talked about the Flash. I mean, there was so much messed up stuff going on
Well,
around
I mean,
that film, and
that film.
reshoots and everything. That going in, I just hoped it was enjoyable.
Yeah, same here.
And
Yeah.
but at the same time, I also knew nothing that happened in that film was going to matter.
Which was hard for me, when DC started, cutting like what was it? Batgirl was one they was
Yep.
cutting. And I've talked about it. I'm a big Batman 89 man,
Yep.
Michael Keaton.
Yep.
That was my whole, I thought this were a great opportunity. They talked about Michael Keating also being in Batgirl and on the series and the movies and the mentor, and I could really see, and I
all
was
the
so
rumors-
excited.
All
Yes.
the rumors floating around of the possibility of him doing a Batman Beyond,
Yes,
and the
exactly.
mentor Batman.
Yes.
But yeah, but once they chose the new
Yeah.
director of DC, we all knew none of that was going to
Yeah, I
happen.
knew that was going to happen, and so it's sad. Like I said, I can understand that whole franchise of DC, that period had a lot going against it.
Yeah.
But the actors were incredible and they fit
Yes.
the part, and that's what's sad to me, is that we really had a good cast. But
Mhm.
Ezra Miller, he he was awesome as the Flash, but the deal is the actor is crazy,
Yeah.
and it doesn't help with the stability. It's like
Yeah. If
with
the
that
studio
franchise.
if the studio can't stand behind you,
Yeah.
there's just not anything they can't.
At the end of the day, it's investors. Yeah. At the end of the day, is your investors as far
Yeah.
as the studios are concerned. So
Oh, absolutely.
anyway, yeah.
Any other big disappointments for 2023 for you?
I think for me, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which I watched, and my disappointment is that how much hate it got, because I actually enjoyed it. And didn't do very well. Wasn't a very good standoff for Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I'm
and we're talking about doing a review on that here in a few weeks.
Yes. Yeah. And for me, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, and maybe because there was this negative, maybe there was all this negative press. I don't know, with the critics, but I watched it and I thought, are we compared to the Crystal Skull, this thing, I thought it was done very well and I liked it. So was it something would I compare it to Raiders? Of course not.
Yeah.
Compare it to to The Last Crusade? Of course not. But I thought it was good. So that was a disappointment for me. And as far as video games, we had up to this point last year, Starfield was a Bethesda game that was going to be massive. And if you go on Steam reviews, and even though the critics at first were just praising it, after time, when people had time to play it, if you look on Steam, it's probably the lowest that we've seen since Fallout 76, which was a total failure of Bethesda on Fallout games. But the problem is that, and if you read through the comments on Starfield, is that you got to love AI. Bethesda has an AI in place that every time someone makes a negative comment or don't like it, it does a reply. And after a while, it starts sounding the same. And it's justifying and how great it is, and that and people don't understand what's behind all this work. And basically, you have this vast universe with nothing to interact with, and I think that's the biggest complaint. And plus, the graphics are dated.
Some of the reviews I read said it felt old when it came out.
Exactly.
And some of the other comments I saw, one particular article I read, and this wasn't individual reviews, this was an article from a reputable, from a group that we actually like. These are people that we trust. One of the comments in the review was that it felt too broad, and not deep enough story wise.
Exactly.
It was such an open world that you couldn't get a deep story.
Yeah. And that's hopefully they will continue to support it and maybe change some things around. But it is pretty sad. I was looking forward to this particular game, and I may go ahead and play it just to have myself. But the press wasn't very good. Well, critics' reviews as far as gamers, it didn't do very well. So that was kind of something I was disappointed in. Also, too, I'm very disappointed as far as publishers. It's being a game developer is a thankless job. They work hours and hours and hours and hours, and so many studios were shut down even after producing a good game. And so they had the VGA Awards, which was hosted by Jeff Keighley, who is known in the industry for his, for 30 years interviewing with games and publications and stuff. And anyway, a journalist. During that whole process, during the Game Award, never mentioned once about the plight of the developers, because tons of people got let go this past year. working on these games and being, and you know, and we wonder why a lot of these entertainment, and you can say the same with entertainment with movies, but for gaming is entertainment, a lot of these come out not finished or lackluster, and has a lot to do with, are you going to let your people, you know, the managing between profit, people, and quality. So that was one thing I was disappointed in. And also in technology is the GPU front. You know, anybody who's looking at wanting to buy a new video card, the 4000 series has been a really disappointment. Price compared to performance. You know, hopefully my hope is for this coming year is that the 5000 series will correct that, you know, and of course, because of, you know, the pandemic, they still want to use the excuse why the prices went up. But even though we have a steady stream, you know, I don't think knocking $100 off is going to hurt. So anyway, I've been disappointed with NVIDIA, and hopefully they can turn it around. But that's pretty much my disappointments.
Well, I was going to say my other big disappointment, and this has definitely been a cultural thing, for the last several years. But I feel like this year it's worse, and it is just this culture of hating everything, because it's popular to hate everything.
Oh, I agree with that.
I feel like this year is kind of like the year of hate.
Well,
some of the there are whole YouTube channels that if you go and look at their channel, they definitely thrive on it. On hating entertainment, to the point that none of their videos ever have anything positive to say ever. And I'm just, I just, it gets old for me. I'm just like, you can't find anything you like, or you won't post about something that you genuinely like. And, you know, it's just one of those situations where I'm disappointed. I'd like to see people try to be more positive. Now, I mean, let's be honest. There are some things that didn't go well. There are some things that deserve legitimate critique. But there are some that's obviously it doesn't matter what it is. You're going to dislike it on your videos because people will click.
And games are like that too. I mean, you think about a lot of it, video game reviews and stuff like too. I mean, you know, Bethesda comes out with a bad game a couple of years ago, and people don't let it down, and so everything is compared to that. Let's talk about the same with Lucas with, you know, Indiana Jones, since the Crystal, you know, Skull. You know, people can't look at the, you know, Dial of Destiny in a, you know, a different way. You know, and And so what I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm not saying that something is a great game, but I think sometimes people are doing out of spite of whoever it is or franchise it is, because something that happened before, and it's almost like it's almost like and I don't know if it's really their opinion or not. It's almost like they're getting the numbers, and I think that's the problem. They're getting the likes, they're getting the subscribes, they're getting the viewers, and I think that's the main thing.
Yes, and it's so popular now to be that it gives all nerds a bad name. Because it's never a bad movie. It's all of the people who are critiquing the movie negatively just because they. So we all as fans get blamed for hating everything. Because there are some guys that legitimately encourage it.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it. The old school Star Wars people who's, you know, attacking the newer stuff that's out there, and the newer stuff people are attacking the old stuff, you know, being dated. You got the same thing, DC Marvel, they attack each other. And then you have the same thing, Xbox people, PlayStation people. And so you have these people that are, but it's not so much outright. It's that, I mean, people are so bored that they have to sabotage reviews on different critic sites,
Yes.
Metacritic and other places like that, Rotten Tomatoes, it's like, you got to be kidding me that you hate something that much that you're going to spend that much time getting community together to bring this down to like a 23 rating or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
I don't either.
I don't understand it.
Well, really quick before we get into 2024, was there something that was a highlight for you in 2023?
2023. I think every episode that we've done was a highlight for me. I thought that was special.
You make me feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yes, I do. Especially the holiday special that we did. Check that out.
If you missed that train wreck, you need to go watch it last week.
Yeah, go watch it. It's funny that you said that. I'm thinking about this past season. I honestly, for me is the amount of really good streaming shows that came out. Loki was a I loved Loki. I thought it was a great season. I was stoked about that. I know Ahsoka had some hate, but I really enjoyed Ahsoka. I think I really was excited about seeing, like the Clone Wars in a live action format. I'm trying to think of some movies I was really excited about.
Yeah.
And
for me, Secret Invasion was a highlight. I really enjoyed that season. I'm not going to say that it was perfect. There were some things I wish they would have done different or better, but overall, I thought it was pretty good. I don't think 2024 was nearly as bad as some people like.
You mean 23? You talking about
2023? Yeah. I don't think 2023 was as bad as some people try to make it.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, there's some good things some really good stuff that came out, and whether it's video game and as far as entertainment. As far as movies go, was there anything that really jumped out movie wise that made you go, man, I am so glad that I went to the movies? For me, it's more for me, it was more of, man, that was awesome that I saw on Disney Plus. Man, that was awesome when I saw on Hulu.
I will be honest. Streaming was a bigger thing for me this year than going to movies.
Yeah.
I will say I was really pleasantly surprised to see that the Mario Brothers movie did as well as it did.
Yeah, same here.
I was really fearful that was going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It did really well.
Oh my goodness. It was
for the year. It might be.
Yeah.
For the year, it's definitely top 10, probably top 5.
It would have been the top if it wasn't for Barbie. Which
Barbie is the most bizarre thing.
That is.
That it did so well for long.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, Ryan Gosling was in it, and then Maggie.
It had lots of good things going for it.
Yeah. So,
but I was surprised it did. I wasn't surprised it did well. I was surprised that we're going to end the year with Barbie being the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah, that was something I would never. I think that it's funny because I forget where I read it or where I heard it from, but someone was saying that a lot of critics and reviewers are just stop reviewing movies because between superhero movies and movies based off of toy and board games, a lot of them are just they're just having a hard time reviewing those type of movies. And I I have a problem reviewing those movies, but we're we're a different demographic as far as
true.
our niche.
I do think this is interesting. Of the top 5 movies,
Mm-hmm.
3 of them are by far are nerdy movies.
Yeah.
So top 5 is Barbie.
Yeah.
Super Mario's came in second, by the way.
Yeah.
For the year. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Animated.
Came in third. Guardians of the Galaxy came in fourth. So
Okay.
Marvel is top. Marvel has a top 5 movie this year.
Yeah.
And then Oppenheimer, which is kind of biopic, but kind of nerdy because of what it's about.
Yeah, exactly.
Came in fifth. So that's pretty interesting to me.
That is
pop culture owned the top 5.
Yeah, really did. Really did.
And,
it seems like
and really
serious.
Really pop culture owned the top 10.
Yeah.
But I mean, John Wick is in top 10 this year. Ant-Man and the Wasp is in the top 10. Avatar technically is from last year, but it came out so late that it made most of its money this year.
Yeah.
So, but pop culture did so well this year, and they're not kid movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Little Mermaid is really the only kid designed movie that came out that hit top 10 this year.
Top 10. Gotcha.
Because usually it would be some Disney animated movie that's going to be, it's going to own the box office this year.
Which didn't. Yeah, which it did not. Yeah. Not at all.
But it's interesting year.
Yeah.
So what about next year? I mean, there's a huge list that we have.
Which I'm surprised the list that we have.
Part of it is because some of these things were supposed to come out this year.
That's true.
And got pushed. But
some of them got pushed because there were some that from my understanding were made, but a lot of people wanted to wait for the actors to come back to be able to promote some of the movies, some of these films or shows. And then there were some that was in the middle of the production. And then there were some that wanted to go back and do rewrites, but couldn't until the writers came back. So there's a whole lot that was,
rewrites and reshoots had to be held
exactly. Off. So, so it's going to be a busy year.
It should be. Now, whether it's a good year or not, I'm not sure. I mean, now, mind you, you and I have this list in front of us that is really nerdy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But like, I don't know of anything, this list or any list, I don't know of anything that's going to be Barbie movie big next year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm kind of looking through the list that we have. And I agree. I mean, maybe the only thing that I see that might be really big is Deadpool 3, but I kind of have this feeling that it may not be for some reason. I don't know why. I have this weird feeling that it may not be.
Well, okay. So Deadpool 3, important to remember, is going to be R-rated. Yes. R-rated movies notoriously they are not the biggest box office draws.
No, they're not.
So what is that? So I can't imagine it being, a $500 million movie. I expect it to do well, but I don't expect it to be that.
Well, we can kind of go down the list that we have here, if you want to. I'll let you start off.
I was going to say these are not in release order or any order. But I will say this is, and I'm gonna bulk all these together. So I'm going to try to grab several.
No, that's fine.
This is going to be the year of Marvel Sony.
Marvel. Definitely. Because
Marvel has several movies. So in February, we've got Madam Web, which, if you're not familiar, that's Spider-Man adjacent. And that's going to be a weird movie. I don't know how it's going to fit in because, number one, it is a female-led movie. No problem with that. You know, the bulk of the cast is female, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But from the comics to the movie, the character is completely different.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I mean, almost unrecognizably completely different. Like in the comics, Madam Web is an old woman who is blind and like paralyzed, but can see the future.
Yeah, gotcha.
In this movie, she is not blind, not paralyzed, and not old.
Yeah.
But she can still see the future. So I don't know how all that's going to play out. You know, and in the comics, it's, you know, it's kind of one of those, is Madam Web a bad guy or a good guy? You know, sometimes she's kind of a bad guy, sometimes she's kind of helpful. This one looks like Madam Web is going to be the good guy.
Gotcha.
So we've got that. Then we have Kraven the Hunter is supposed to come out in August.
Yeah.
So this is another one of those. This is an explicitly bad guy in the comics that they're turning into an anti-hero of sorts. So don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Not sure how this all fits into Sony's big plan.
Yeah. How will it be received? Yeah.
Yeah. Then we've got Venom 3 coming in November. And we were supposed to, now this is a question mark. We were supposed to have Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, the final movie in the animated Spider-Man trilogy.
Yeah.
But they removed the date.
Gotcha.
And now it doesn't have a date at all. So there's some conjecture that this movie might be pushed to 2025.
Interesting.
So we don't know. We don't know when that's going to be released. Let's see. Is there another one? I think that's all. So four movies coming out of Sony in the Spider-Verse for Marvel.
Now, okay. Now, well, we'll get to the other ones probably. Now, is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, is that?
That's Marvel. That's Marvel.
Marvel. Okay.
That gets weird. That's a Disney Plus show.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's the animated. Do you remember they talked about this a couple of years ago, back when Disney Plus was talking about all these things they were going to do in Marvel.
Yeah,
it's this weird animation style that is reminiscent of the early Spider-Man comics.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know, he's going to have he's a teenage goofy kid with glasses. And I mean, we might actually get a Spider-Man origin story where he gets bit. He's in high school. The graphic style looks like 60s comic books.
Okay.
But that's supposed to be Disney Plus, so I didn't lump it in with those.
Okay. I was curious about that.
I'm interested to see that.
Yeah.
I can't decide if it's going to be good or not. But we don't have a date on that other than it's supposed to be 2024.
Gotcha.
It's going to be Disney Plus, so who knows?
Yeah, who knows right now, Matt.
Some of those things kind of get weird. Some of the Disney Plus things that are scheduled have gotten kind of weird. Like Marvel Zombies is supposed to happen. So if you remember the What If episode, that was Marvel was zombies. So they're going to spin that off into an actual series. We'll have to wait and see how that one goes. I'm not looking forward to Marvel Zombies.
Yeah.
The What If episode was fine, but I don't see this as being a big draw for me.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I don't mind it as a what if, an alternate type of deal, but to make a series out of it or to make a movie out of it, I don't so much
get that either. As far as other things, speaking of animation and Disney Plus, I am looking forward to the X-Men 97 release. So this
Gotcha.
is going back. We're going to pick up where we left off with the X-Men series from the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Kind of looking
Awesome.
forward to that.
Oh,
I don't know how all that's going to play out. We'll have to wait and see
mhm.
how. My big question mark is how faithful are they going to be to the old show?
Yeah.
Are they going to keep it going the way it was? And
Mhm.
the look is supposed to be similar, the art
Yeah.
style and all that. But the stories were great. The characters were great. Are they going to be able to keep it? Is it going to feel like the 90s again?
Gotcha.
I don't
Yeah.
know how do you feel about that one?
I mean, kind of here or there about it, honestly. You know, I do like the nostalgia of it, but X-Men '97. That's a big callback. I mean, and
Yeah.
so are they going to be able to carry that on? Are they going to keep the exact animation, the
Right.
art style?
And you and I are in the upper age group
yeah,
for watching that show. Like
yeah,
we were in college when that was was
yeah,
happening.
yeah,
So it's really going to be like the guys that are about 10 years younger than us
yeah, exactly,
who really have the nostalgia for that show because
exactly.
they were eating cereal at the, and
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yeah,
heading to school and coming home to watch X-Men,
yeah,
the animated series. Those are the guys who are really going to make this or break this.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
So, since we're on Marvel, why don't we just stay on Marvel? So let's see. There are some Marvel things that are happening. We already mentioned Deadpool 3. I'm very much looking forward to this.
Definitely.
I've seen some conflicting articles, and I question whether their legitimacy.
Yeah.
Like maybe there's some. I saw an article that claimed there was some Ryan Reynolds disgruntled at Disney kind of things happening.
Mm, yeah.
Did you read anything about that?
I haven't read anything about that, but
I only saw it once.
yeah.
And I wasn't totally convinced it was real
Gotcha.
or if it was just clickbait.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of that out there. So
There is a lot of that out there.
yeah.
I'm hopeful it's good. If it's good, we could see a Deadpool 4 someday.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Deadpool finally coming over to Marvel?
Well, it basically it forced Disney to redo their entire streaming application. Now that you can,
True, very true.
I mean, because of Deadpool coming in, you're going to have more mature content coming in. If you think about this,
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I think it's, it's just, I don't know how Deadpool can be weaved in to the MCU universe. I mean, of course you can do anything because of multiverse, but I don't know. I mean, I'm, like I said, as long as Disney allows, Ryan Reynolds to do what it needs, as long as they allow them to
Ryan
continue.
Reynolds.
Yes, exactly. Not trying to hamper it because, and I'm sure that even when it was under Fox, it was still, I'm sure they still had, these people coming out saying, okay, listen, Ryan, we know this is an R, but let's keep it an R and not go any further than that, but yeah, no, I think it's fine coming into the fold. It's fascinating that it's going to fall under the Disney banner. Back in the day when we had movies that were, R or even PG-13, Disney had another studio that did that kind of stuff.
Well, and when we first launched Disney Plus, when they finally got the Fox stuff and had all the R-rated stuff, they just shifted it over to Hulu and left it there for a while. What was it? Somebody was saying, somebody told me that you could tell there was a lot of Disney Plus of more M-rated stuff coming out for Disney Plus because they ran into a explainer video on how to go into Disney Plus and change your ratings.
Change your ratings. Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, and apparently, I may be jumping the gun, but Echo, that is a movie that's going to be, and even in the trailers, whatever the teaser trailer, it even says in the trailer itself that this movie will be rated M. I mean, this isn't the trailer, okay, telling you and go to Disney Plus to find out how to change your settings in the Disney Plus app. So
it's legitimate.
Yeah.
And so I'm very much looking forward to Echo.
I am too.
Because I like that world building that they've done.
Me too.
I like that they brought over the Daredevil, feel, some of that feel.
Yes, they did.
But they have kind of Marvelized it a little bit.
Yeah, they have.
It's not the same as the Netflix, but it has some of that feel. I'm interested to see how that plays out. Yeah. I'm less excited, more and more less excited about Agatha Coven of Chaos.
Yeah. Kind of give me a.
I think it could be good, or it will be horrible, or it will just not be significant.
Yeah.
And what I think it's going to be, I think it's just not going to be significant.
Yeah.
They've changed the name 3 times.
That says something, doesn't it?
That says something.
I mean, that says something to me.
That does say something.
When you're that concerned about a name of a show, I'm thinking you might be concerned about the substance,
I mean, let's be honest. Now, on one hand,
okay,
you and I have changed our
show
name.
But look at the substance. Yeah, again, I made my point.
Yeah.
Okay, so
but we did. Our show hasn't substantially changed.
No,
since we started the show.
No, we haven't.
We changed names because nobody could find us.
That's true.
And then, both times really, we changed the name. Now, so I will say, House of Harkness, I believe, was the original name.
Mm-hmm.
And they decided to change that. And I could kind of buy that one as, okay, people won't understand what House of Harkness is.
Yeah.
I understand what House of Harkness is because I'm steeped in Marvel lore and I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So that first name change, I get that. I don't understand the second name change at all.
Yeah.
I don't know what the difference is. That one's the one that actually concerns me on this one.
Yeah. Gotcha.
It doesn't feel, because it was Agatha : Darkhold Diaries or something like that, which that makes perfect sense because the Darkhold is a big part of this lore. Changing it to Coven of Chaos, I don't understand why they changed that.
Yeah, that seems kind of wild.
So
I think on a kind of going through some of the Marvel, kind of going through what we've got. Eyes of Wakanda to be announced. I don't know anything about that.
I just ran into that.
Yeah.
Unless it's supposed to be animated.
Okay.
It's an animated Black Panther thing.
Okay.
I don't know what it will be about. I haven't read anything about it. Honestly, I found it when I was going through making this list.
Gotcha.
No telling what that's going to be.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it will be pre-T'Challa, post-T'Challa, if it's going to be, if it's a recast T'Challa for animation.
Yeah.
Which, that could happen. That could be a thing. But I honestly have no idea about it. I'm not super looking forward to it just because I have no information.
Yeah, same here. Well, and Creature Commandos, the animated series,
that is DC.
That's
And
DC.
I was
Which
going to
is
say, I think we've exhausted all the Marvel stuff on the list.
yes.
So
yes.
why don't we jump to DC? There's
Yeah,
really only two things
that I
for
know
DC,
about. Yes, DC.
and that is Creature Commandos, and
Yes.
that's going to be an animated series.
hmm
And it was originally expected to release in 2024.
hmm
Now, with the writer strike and the actor strike,
hmm
and this is an interesting deal. A lot of animation continued
Yeah.
because animation writers don't fall under the same contract as screenwriters.
Gotcha.
I don't understand that whole
Yeah.
thing, but I've interviewed a couple of animators and they talk about that.
Gotcha.
And most of the voice actors record so early, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or they're not on the same kind of actor contracts.
Gotcha.
Well, DC made the actual decision that if you are going to be a live action character ever,
hmm
you have to be the same person, live action and animation. So maybe they were able to write, but if the actors were on strike and they have to be the same actors that will eventually come to live action, they wouldn't be able to record.
Exactly.
So possibly this won't happen until 2025. It was originally supposed to be 2024, and it would be the first of the Gunn DCU.
Okay.
We'll have to wait and see. And Creature Commandos, apparently they're a military unit made of monsters.
Well, I mean, what? Of course. What do you? What else would it be?
I was not really familiar with them when I heard about
it. Me neither.
Not super looking forward to it.
No.
Other than it's going to be the first DCU thing.
Yeah. Which, okay.
And outside the DCU is Joker.
World? Yes.
Joker 2, because I can never pronounce Foil Adieu. And so that's going to be the live action Joker. Joaquin Phoenix follow up. And we're going to have Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. And apparently it's going to be a musical.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? It's the new DC. Why not?
Well, this is not even the new DC.
Well, I know.
This is outside the DC universe.
This
DC.
is whatever. Yes. I don't know. I really don't know what to say.
To the best of my understanding, these are the only two major entertainment releases from DC outside of print.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of where we are there. Joker will probably be good. It will probably be good, meaning the production will be amazing and the set design will be great, and all that.
Okay.
So then we have, I guess, probably Star Wars is next.
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, it's all part of the whole Disney.
We can plow through some of the other oddities.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to have Skeleton Crew. And
that's still a thing, huh?
It's still a thing.
Okay.
We've got Bad Batch season 3. I am looking forward to that. I have enjoyed Bad Batch so far.
I have too.
We've got Star Wars Acolyte.
Okay.
Which is another live action. Skeleton Crew and is Skeleton Crew live action?
I believe so. Okay. Yes, it is.
And Acolyte is live action, right?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got 2 live actions. And then we have Tales of the Jedi, which I really enjoyed the last season of Tales of the Jedi.
Yes.
So I'm not sure who we're going to see this time. Have you read anything about Tales of the Jedi season 2?
I do not. Like I said, I don't know if there's anything out there on that. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't found any information on it. Of course, I hadn't looked for it either. I just know it's supposed to be out.
Yeah, I know last time we had Count Dooku and Ahsoka.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see who we get this time. I'm not sure. I haven't seen where we have anything. but that's kind of all for Star Wars.
Yeah, and which, yeah, I mean, you know, and Andor, you know, it's not going to come out until, from my understanding now, 2025.
That got pushed.
Yeah, because
and no Star Wars movies.
No,
it's all streaming,
and we're pretty much, I mean, so far, unless there's something that we haven't heard, I mean, what we just mentioned is streaming.
Yeah, all streaming stuff.
And so, I mean,
we'll have to see what the rest of that is going to be. I don't know if there's,
because that's not a whole lot of streaming, Star Wars streaming going on there.
No, but it is. I mean, it's 2 live actions and 2 animated, so it's not nothing. But
it ain't nothing.
I was hoping for, you know, I'm hoping for some live action film sometime in the near future. Star Wars has been out of the theaters for a long time. It needs to go back to the theaters.
It needs something.
But then we have lots of other oddities.
Yeah, some odd stuff.
Yeah, like Kung Fu Panda is coming out next year. It's a popular franchise. You know, it's Kung Fu Panda 4. I can't see it being a big blockbuster. Just because after you get past like 2 or 3, it tends to be diminishing returns.
Exactly.
It's popular. I'm sure it will do well.
Yeah.
Furiosa, the next Mad Max saga movie.
That's right.
That one could do really well.
John Mimosa's in it, right?
Yes. Momoa is going to be in it.
Mimosa. You know what I'm thinking of?
That's what you've been drinking.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that will be spectacular looking.
Yeah.
I hope the story is good.
Me too.
I dig the actor. I can't remember her name. The actress that plays Furiosa, I think is great. The character is really kind of cool. So I'm hopeful that does really well. Dune Part 2 is probably the movie I'm most looking forward to next year.
Yeah.
Of anything that's coming out.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about Dune in the past. And I love the books. I am really looking forward to this movie. If it does well, I could see them possibly doing a 3rd Dune movie. That will be one of the other books. I could see that happening.
There were talk, and I don't know if it stopped or not. They were going to do a series on HBO Max at one time, but
I don't know.
I don't know. Oh, and I wonder what's going to happen. We didn't mention this on Nerdy News, but we can talk about this another time. The whole HBO Max / Paramount talks.
Yes, I did read that they're in talks to buy each other. I'd forgotten about that. We'll mention that next week. See if we can dig up any other information.
Yeah, exactly.
Inside Out is going to be a Disney animated Inside Out 2. This was a huge win for the first one. Mm-hmm. Disney is going to swing for the fences again. Disney has not done well with animation this past year.
No, they have not.
Just has not happened for them. ISS, International Space Station movie, looks really kind of cool. Have you seen this?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Very interesting film.
Yeah.
It looks super intense.
Yeah, it does.
I think it could be good.
Yeah.
I don't see it being a huge blockbuster, but I think it's close enough to, it's sci-fi enough for nerds, and it's close enough to not sci-fi for the general public.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Godzilla X Kong. Godzilla movies always do pretty well.
Yeah.
But I don't see it being a huge number.
No.
Lord of the Rings is going to have a hit the theaters again. But it's
interesting. Okay.
War of the Rohirrim. It's 200 years prior to the Lord of the Rings.
Gotcha.
As I recall. But that's going to be, that could be good.
Another one I forgot, we wasn't on the list, is the Ghostbusters, Frozen.
Ghostbusters movie. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah, the Ghostbusters, Frozen. I don't want to say Frozen and Frozen Kingdom. I don't think that's the name of it, but it has the
Frozen
cast back.
Empire.
Frozen Empire. And there was one of the magazines, online sites, that actually Bill Murray is actually in it, which I'm surprised.
Yes.
So he actually has a part in that. So
he wasn't in the last one, right?
yes, he was.
Oh, was he? Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, he was.
He's an odd duck. Whether or not you can get him into a film is
yeah. Yeah, he is. It's
Dan Aykroyd is supposed to return as well.
Yes, exactly.
And then even more weird is, I want to mention this one just because we're in Oklahoma. Twisters.
It's not Twister. It's Twisters.
Twisters. It is Twister 2. And I don't exactly know how this was going to play out because the lead actor for the original movie died.
Yeah.
Sadly. And but Twister was shot, actually had a lot of shooting in Oklahoma this time.
Exactly.
So rather than shooting in Kansas and saying they were in Oklahoma, they actually shot in Oklahoma.
It's interesting. Fascinating.
Yeah. And then the two really odd ducks for me is Roadhouse.
Yes. Did you see the photograph of him, of Gyllenhaal?
Gyllenhaal. Yes. Jake Gyllenhaal as a former UFC fighter.
Yes, you see a photo. If you see the photo of him, he's like jacked. I mean, it was hard to fathom. There's a scene where he has no shirt on. He's in the Roadhouse, and it's like, first I wondered whether it was AI generated, but no, it's so anyway, he's did the Ryan Reynolds workout to get jacked up. So at least, I mean, nice. That's what he looks like. So anyway,
well, and at least one legitimate UFC fighter is going to be in the movie.
There you go. Gotta have that.
Conor McGregor is going to be in the film.
Yeah.
I don't know if Conor McGregor is just going to be, the random opponent, that he has to fight, the UFC fight scene.
Yeah.
Or if he's actually going to be a real character for the film.
Yeah.
But so 80s remake, going to bring it up to date. Now he's a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
And the other one is the Fall
Guy. Yeah, I seen this. Why? I don't.
The old TV show from the 80s is going to get a movie.
Was it Ryan Gosling? Is it Ryan Gosling playing this character? I think
it is.
Yeah,
which is let's see, Fall Guy 2024.
Which I don't understand.
Yes, Ryan Gosling.
Okay, Gosling.
I don't know why.
I don't know why this is a thing, but apparently it is. It's weird to me when they pull something out of a 70s or early 80s TV show and they make a movie out of it.
Now, okay, so the Wikipedia article says action comedy. So this might be in the vein of 21 Jump Street.
Yes, well, I'm sure it is. It has to be.
So not a fun remake of an 80s show. We're going to make fun of.
We're going to make fun of it. Show. Yeah. There you
go. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
I can see that. Okay. That makes a little more sense to me. And when I first saw it, my first thought was, why are they why would they do this? It was an okay show.
Oh, no. It's not a serious. Yeah, they're making fun of it like they did with the Dukes of Hazzard. They did with Starsky and Hutch.
Yes, Starsky and Hutch was
just
making fun of it. Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense as to why they're doing it. And it also makes more sense as to why Ryan Gosling is in it.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes All right, so we're just going to make fun of my childhood. Thank you very much, Hollywood.
Hey, that's what they do best. That's right. They just go through the list.
Oh my
Which
god!
we should create a list of the movies that they have not done yet. I mean, they did my A Team. They did, you know, they already did my A Team. So, you know,
Yeah.
they did that. So
Just making fun of all those old guys.
yeah, that's right. That's okay. That's okay.
Is there anything
So,
else that you know about that's
I
coming out in
don't.
2024? That
No, I don't. You know, I'm sure there's some other things that we haven't covered. And down in the comments, folks, if we missed anything that you're looking forward to that's coming up in 2024, put it down in the comments. Let us know. If there's anything that we mentioned that has happened that's different than what we've reported, put it in there because things change all the time.
Yep.
And if there's anything in this list that you look forward to, yeah, let us know. And what you don't look forward to and any disappointments from last year, let us know. Put it in the comments. Remember, like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, which is Speaking Nerdy. Actually, YouTube/speakingnerdy.com. That's where we're at. Just like and subscribe. We're also on speakingnerdy.com, our website, where you can find our audios and our videos. And of course, our podcasts. You can find it in any of your favorite podcast venues. But yeah, but please comment. And also we have a YouTube page. Also a Facebook page. Come join, and a lot of stuff going on. Mm-hmm. And of course, in the next week, if all goes well, we're going to talk about the What If, the season 2. So
it's already like half over. So
half
go
over.
Watch
Yeah.
it. There's a new one coming out every day.
Yes.
So check those out, and we're gonna give our overall review next week.
Yeah, exactly. So, but besides that, I don't have anything else. Anything else that's on my notes.
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Well, if I don't have anything else, you don't have anything else, then I think we call it a wrap.
This has been the Speaking Nerdy podcast with your host, Mr. Mike Schilling.
And my good friend and compadre, Mr. Ricky Poe. Wrap. Isn't that something you put like meat and cheese in?
Sounds good. I'm hungry. I might go grab something.
I think I might do that too.